Hi. So we are here to present you the number 8 of MDG, which states to develop a global partnership for development. So our goal is to achieve this goal by 2015, and for this the approach that we took is by looking at the big picture. So there are 4 specific goals for number 8, which is from 8A to 8D, and we looked at the obstacles that hinder the achievement of each specific goals, and we found a solution for each of them. And please be reminded that the keyword for MDG number 8 is cooperation and collaboration between the member states. And for this, the plan that we suggest is UNNGP, which is also the name of our team, which stands for United Nations Mission for Global Partnership. And so the specific goal, 8A, will be presented by me. So 8A states that address the special needs of the least developed landlocked countries and small island developing states. And according to the MDG report 2013, it states that the core problem hindering the achievement of this goal is that aid money is declining. And second, the aid money is shifting from the LDC, which meaning least developed countries, to the middle-income states. To cope with this problem, we've come up with 2 solutions. First, because we recognize that this shift and such decline in money is due to the political instability in LDCs, and Arab Spring movement is one of them. So, to attack this problem, we suggest a solution of encouraging involved states to cooperate to prevent the further potential political debacle in the future. And this is not a mandatory, it's just encouraged. We're gonna address this problem in General Assembly, set this as a mandate. The second solution is that we're gonna encourage investment of developed countries to this LDCs. This is gonna be. Thank you.
So another facet of Goal 8 is 8B, and it is developing an open, rule-based, predictable, non-discriminatory trading and financial system. And first, by looking at these graph results, it seems like the trade climate has significantly improved. Like the tariffs levied on undeveloped countries have decreased, and these countries have gained more access to duty-free markets of the developed countries. However, there are some problems that must be addressed. Firstly, taxes levied on the least developed countries have overall decreased, but those levied on labor-intensive products such as textile and clothing, which are the main exports of these poor countries, have stayed high, deterring their trade development. Also, since the average tariffs that these poor countries have to pay have decreased, these developed countries have slowly eroded the preferential margin, which is the percentage by which a particular import from one country to another is subject to lower tariffs. And this margin is now low and almost non-existent for textile and clothing products, which, as stated before, are the major exports of these poor countries. Thus, in the end, the tax rates of the most important export products will remain high and in that same unfavorable number. So in the end, the economy of these undeveloped countries will stagnate or even deteriorate, and this will not be a favorable situation for these poor countries.
Okay, I'm in charge of 8C. As you hear, 8C states that it should make available benefits of new technology, especially information and communication technologies, ICTS, in cooperation with the private sector. This goal is met or is expected to met by 2015 in most of the regions, except for regions such as Sub-Saharan in Africa and Southern Asia and Oceania. So the problem of this goal is that the difference between developed and developing countries, the gap between the developed and developing countries. In most of the developed countries, this goal has been met, but I'm sorry, I'm too nervous. This goal has been met in most of the developed countries, but not in developing countries. For example, that developing countries have only 31% of online user, but in developed countries, there's only 77%. There's 77% of online user. And if I give you an example, in developed countries, there's 75% of people subscribe in mobile broadband, but there's only 20% of people in developing country. So that's like a 55% gap, and that's a lot. So the main problem is that there's huge gap between developing countries and developed countries, and that's a great issue that we need to really care about.
Last but not least, I'm going to explain about the fourth problem of our MDG Goal 8, which is dealing comprehensively with developing countries' debt. As said in this above, the debt level remains same as before. For example, debt service ratios rate 1 out of 4th of 2000 level, which increases the financial burdens on developing countries right now. And also in 2009, because of the global financial crisis, there was the downward trend of the debt ratios in LDCs like Southeast Asia and Africa have been halted, and whether the plan that we have that UN have imposed on them. So from now on, I'm going to explain the solutions for our goal right now. The first solution have been explained by our first speaker, so I'm going to start from the second one. Let me say that first, you guys should know that our solutions include the big picture of the problems of both 8A, B, C, and D, so please listen carefully. Solution 2, which is set the lowest price of export goods in LDCs. We have came up with this solution because, as said before, even though the developed countries say that they are lowering the tariffs and helping the LDCs in terms of export goods and other taxes, in the name of helping those developing countries, they are actually lowering the benefits given to them in terms of